You've probably heard that Elon Musk is one of the richest people on Earth. But did you know he takes a $0 salary from Tesla? Yeah, zero. So how does that even work? How does he make his money? Well, in this explainer, we're going to pull back the curtain on the financial architecture of his empire. We'll unpack the playbook that built his incredible fortune. All right, let's get into it.
And that's a question that trips a lot of people up. I mean, we're all used to the idea of a big shot CEO with a huge salary, right? Massive bonuses, all that stuff. But Elon Musk, he plays a totally different game. His approach is, well, it's a complete break from the norm. And if you really want to get a handle on his wealth, you have to understand this.
Because the answer isn't a paycheck, not even close. To find the real answer, we have to go back, way back, long before Tesla and SpaceX were the giants they are today. We're talking about a young Elon Musk, fresh off a couple of huge startup wins, who used that cash to bankroll a vision that seemed, well, honestly, pretty impossible to just about everyone.
So let's set the scene. It's the late 90s. The dot-com boom is in full swing. This is where it all starts. This is where Musk laid the foundation for everything that came after. It all came down to two major company sales that gave him the seed money he needed to think really big. Okay, so his first big win, that came in 1999. He sold his company Zip2, which was kind of like an online city guide for newspapers, to Compaq. And his cut of that deal was about $22 million. Now, for most of us, $22 million that's it, you're set for life. But for Musk, it was just the starting pistol. It was the first injection of capital for something way, way bigger. And then, just 3 years after that, boom, an even bigger payday. You've probably heard of this one. PayPal. He co-founded it, and when eBay bought it, his take was a cool $165 million. And this was the real turning point. This is the moment that put him on a path completely different from pretty much every other tech founder out there. Right, because here's where his story just completely veers off the standard Silicon Valley script. What do most people do with that kind of money? They cash out, right? Buy a yacht, an island, who knows? But not Musk. He took all of it and went all in on two ideas that sounded like pure science fiction at the time. Seriously, people thought he was crazy. An electric car company and a private rocket company? It sounded like a fantasy. And of course, those two companies were Tesla and SpaceX. They would become the two massive pillars holding up his entire empire. And the way they were structured financially, it was just as revolutionary as the tech they were building. So check this out. This really breaks down just how different his compensation is from a typical CEO. For Tesla, look at his column: zero salary, zero bonus. His entire financial reward is tied to how well the company actually does. It's all based on performance-based stock. I mean, talk about high risk, high reward. His fate is tied directly to the company's and the shareholders' success. If they win, he wins. If they lose, well, so does he. And this leads us to a really important idea you have to grasp: unrealized wealth. See, his fortune isn't a Scrooge McDuck vault filled with cash. It's the on-paper value of his stocks, mostly in Tesla. So when you hear his net worth shot up by, say, $10 billion in one day, it doesn't mean cash appeared in his bank account. It just means the stock price went up. That wealth only turns into actual, spendable money if he decides to sell those shares. Okay, let's switch gears to the other pillar of his empire, SpaceX. Now, SpaceX is a bit different because it's a private company. That means its value isn't bouncing up and down every second with the stock market. Instead, its valuation gets set during big funding rounds. This makes it a much more stable, long-term piece of his portfolio, balancing out the wild swings of his public stocks like Tesla. So what makes SpaceX so valuable? Well, it's got a whole bunch of different ways it makes money. We're talking huge, game-changing contracts with NASA. They basically own the commercial rocket launch market. And of course, there's the massive Starlink project, beaming internet down from space. Each one of these revenue streams just adds another layer of value, making SpaceX an absolute cornerstone of his whole financial world. But here's the thing. The success of Tesla and SpaceX wasn't the end of the story. Not by a long shot. It was the launch pad. It gave him the cash and the clout to get even more ambitious. He started building this whole interconnected ecosystem of companies, with each one trying to blow the doors off what's possible in its own field. And you can really see that progression here on this timeline. Just look at the rhythm of it. It's methodical. He founded SpaceX, then Tesla a year later. Then, building on that success, he starts Neuralink. And then, the big acquisition of Twitter, now X. Each new move was fueled by the wins before it. It's this powerful, self-funding loop of innovation that's been running for more than 20 years now. And this is what that ecosystem looks like today. It's huge. You've got Starlink connecting the globe. You've got X, with its ambition to be the everything app. Neuralink, which is literally trying to connect brains to computers. The Boring Company, digging tunnels to solve traffic. And now XAI, jumping headfirst into the artificial intelligence race. Every single one of these companies has a specific strategic part to play in his grand vision. So when you step back and look at all these pieces together, you start to see a very clear pattern, right? A strategy. So what's the takeaway from this wild ride? What are the actual rules that seem to drive his financial success? Let's break down what we can call the billionaire's playbook.
It really boils down to 4 main ideas. Number 1, focus on ownership. Forget the big salary. It's all about equity, about owning a piece of the company. For him, that's where the real wealth is. Number 2, reinvest everything. Don't just cash out your wins, use them to fuel the next big risky bet. 3, link your pay to performance. Make your success totally dependent on the company's success. And finally, number 4, leverage your assets. This is a big one. Instead of selling his stock and losing that ownership, he uses it as collateral to get loans.
And really, if there's one thing to take away from all this, it's that his wealth isn't earned in the traditional sense, it's grown. It wasn't about cashing paychecks. It was about planting seeds, taking huge risks, and letting them grow over time. He's become a master at using what he has to create this never-ending cycle of growth and new ideas. Which leads to the final big question. Is this playbook something anyone could follow? Or is this a financial strategy that only someone like Elon Musk could actually survive? I mean, does it just come down to a one-of-a-kind mix of brains, luck, and a willingness to risk it all that nobody else has? It really makes you wonder, what's the secret ingredient here?